you so much for joining me. Thank you for signing up to this webinar. I've been excited to share these thoughts with you for a while now, and it's something that I've been working on really hard in the background, but also getting a lot of enjoyment from. So I'm really delighted to share things with you. Well done for signing up for something that has endurance in the title. It's not something that most of us even want to be thinking about in the cold and dark of January, because really, haven't we all got enough to deal with? But that is the point of the next 45 minutes or so. It really is about exactly that, because yes, we do have enough to deal with. And quite frankly, things are not getting any easier. So even if our goal for this year is just to get through it, we're going to need an endurance mindset to keep us strong, focused, and able to cope with the uncontrollables. Now, endurance. I'll start with the dictionary definition, because all webinars must start with the dictionary definition. That is the law. But it means the ability to endure an unpleasant or difficult process or situation without giving way. And let's be honest, for a lot of business owners in particular, that is essentially what the last few years have been like, and something we need to prepare ourselves for in the months ahead. But I'm here to show you how cultivating an endurance mindset is a positive thing, not just for your business, but for every aspect of your life, and how pushing through challenges or setting yourself up to do hard things is how to live the very best of your life. But why now? Now, I don't like to kick things off in doom and gloom, but let's be realistic with ourselves about some of the very real struggles that some of us are faced with, quite frankly, through no fault of our own. And if you own a small business, you'll have felt the impact of rising operational costs in the last 12 months, from higher employer national insurance rates to inflation-driven wage increases. Inflation, volatile interest rates, and declining business confidence creates economic uncertainty, which makes strategic planning difficult. And small businesses survive and thrive when things feel uncertain in the world. And what do we get presented with as a solution to that? Hustle, bro. And if you're a bit sick of that, I hear you, because I am too. That's why I wanted to reframe some of the motivational or business thinking that I've been shown or taught into something that doesn't just get me through the day, but brings value to my whole life, and doesn't necessarily mean that I need to buy an ice bath. Over the course of this webinar, I want to show you how to unlock resilience for life and business. You could, at this point, very legitimately be asking yourself, well, what do I know? Well, I am a business owner myself. I'm also an ultra runner. And to be honest, that's probably more of me than the business side. As someone who chooses to run ridiculously long distances for fun, I've had to teach myself a lot about mindset and resilience in order to ensure that both my mind and my body are able to sustain me, to push myself to do the things that I love. And it is this endurance training, more than anything else, that has changed who I am, not just physically and not just when I'm running. It's changed how I approach work, life, my relationships, the way I think about myself, my body, and my future. And today I want to share everything I've learned with you. That has formulated into the 6 steps that I call the endurance mindset. Now, the endurance mindset requires acknowledgement of these 3 universal truths. Big challenges can be broken into smaller steps. The process rules the outcome, and sustained effort leads to meaningful growth. It also requires me to give you this disclaimer, that you may find yourself doing hard things as a result of this webinar. But for that, I make no apologies, because the adventures you will have will be worth it. So let's start with what we already know. There are plenty of psychological theories that explain how people develop and sustain a resilient mindset. They focus on motivation, resilience, goal setting, and mental toughness, all really key ingredients to persist through challenges. Here are some that may look a little familiar. The growth mindset, for example, is a concept by Carol Dweck that emphasizes the belief that we develop our abilities through effort and learning. So it's about embracing challenges, persevering through setbacks, and achieving greater growth compared to a fixed mindset. Grit is Angela Duckworth's definition of perseverance and passion for long-term goals. It highlights that sustained effort and determination often outweigh talent in achieving success. We've got cognitive appraisal theory. That's the understanding that your interpretation of a situation shapes your emotional response and actions so that you begin to see challenge as opportunity. And goal setting theory. This asserts that clear, challenging, and measurable goals combined with feedback enhance performance, persistence, and sustained effort. And all of these frameworks and theories have done a lot to motivate and push people to achieve great things. But they can also make you feel a bit shit. While they focus heavily on mental resilience, goal achievement, and overcoming adversity, they miss the crucial element of finding enjoyment in the process. They overlook the personal growth and fulfillment that come from the journey, rather than just the end result. Mental toughness and self-improvement is important, but these theories don't fully address who you become along the way or how the experience itself shapes you. The endurance mindset flips the script. It integrates resilience, courage, optimism, and strength with a unique focus on embracing the process of doing hard things. So it's not just about pushing through discomfort. It's about finding meaning, pride, and joy in the struggle. So how do you adopt an endurance mindset? Well, these are the 6 principles that I have developed, learnt, or experienced directly myself. Evidence is undeniable proof. Everything is temporary. Get to the next aid station. Courage is not the absence of fear. Consistency beats motivation. And if you have a powerful why, you can overcome any how. Evidence is undeniable proof. This is the philosophy that confidence and resilience come from proof that you can handle challenges. Each small victory adds to your bank, making future challenges feel more achievable. And this is probably something that I lean into the most in the toughest of times. And it works in 2 ways. When you're in a position where you can choose to push yourself, but you're held back by an invisible force that says you can't, you can dive into that toolkit from the past, that stack of undeniable proof that proves that you can. It's where mantras and positive thinking are not enough, because the voices in your head can only be quietened by evidence. So have it ready. Nobody can deny the facts that you have done this before, so you can do it again. Or you've put yourself out there before and succeeded, or you've trained hard and overcome in the past, so you can do it again. And it works the other way too, not only in the direct pursuit of the goal, but in the work you're doing in the background. So when things don't go to plan in training or in life, you can say to yourself, I'm going to pocket that. This is tough, but whatever I'm going through right now, one day I'm going to use this to overcome something greater. So collect the evidence. Keep a journal of the times you've overcome difficulty. This becomes your evidence when self-doubt creeps in. Reflect on what you've already conquered as a reminder of your strength. Number 2, everything is temporary. All experiences, whether pain, discomfort, or even triumph, are fleeting. And when you understand this, it becomes easier to endure tough moments and savor joyful ones. This one really came into play for me when I ran 100 kilometers last year. Once you accept it into your life, it is honestly one of the most freeing thoughts that you can have. Nothing lasts. Everything can change. The slog of an uphill climb or the rain clouds coming in. But the same as the joy of running downhill on a beautiful trail in the sunshine. So keep moving through the tough times and keep joyful in the good ones. Neither of them are forever. This is actually extremely comforting, and it's the mindset that I tap into most, I think, when I'm in a race, because it's so easy when things get tough to want to give up. But if you remind yourself that that feeling is just that, it's a feeling, and it's just the one that you're feeling in that moment, you're more likely to keep moving. I often feel like I want to see what's coming next because I know that things aren't going to stay the same. I don't want to give up because there's something new and different around the corner. I want to see what it is. So when faced with hardship, remind yourself, this will pass. Learn to sit with the discomfort rather than react impulsively, knowing it's part of a bigger process. Number 3, get to the next aid station. It's another running one, I know. I rely on it for ultra marathons or any long distance race or training run. When I'm training for 100 miles. It's this romantic notion of crossing the finishing line and making my family proud. That's what gets me up and out and in the dark and keeps me going when it's raining and cold. But when I'm in the race, when I actually have to get the job done, there's no way I'm going to stand on that start line and think about 100 miles. I would just turn around and go home because 100 miles is ridiculous. But I can run 20 miles. I've done that hundreds of times. I've done it hundreds of times and nothing bad happened. In fact, sometimes I even enjoyed it. And that's the distance to the next aid station. Sometimes it won't be 20 miles. Sometimes it will just be 10 minutes or the next tree. When I used to work in prison, I used to ask people how they coped with the passage of time. And the ones who were coping the best all said the same thing. I've only got to get to the next visit or the next court date or the next letter. They didn't do the full time. They did the next chunk of time and then they ticked that off. They reset the clock to 0 and they did it again. And they did it because they knew that they could. So just get to the next aid station, whatever that looks like for you. And in your toughest times, the next aid station might be the next minute or the next breath. You can do it. But when you feel stuck, just ask yourself, what's the next small thing I can do? And then celebrate each milestone, no matter how small, as you progress towards your bigger goal. Courage is not the absence of fear. I love the whole concept of bravery. I really actually do pride myself on being brave. And I love it when people say to me, you're so brave. But it's total bullshit because I am not brave. I'm terrified. I'm terrified doing this webinar. I'm terrified posting on LinkedIn. I'm terrified walking into my office every day, having to deal with what my business is going to throw at me. I'm not brave. I am scared. But that's precisely why I'm brave. Courage is not the absence of fear. It's feeling the fear and doing it anyway. Now, I've climbed a lot of mountains and I hate heights. I just think we should all have our feet firmly on the ground as much as possible. And we definitely shouldn't be dragging our bodies over jagged pieces of rock in the rain. So why the hell do I choose to spend my time doing this if it makes me scared? Because it also makes me brave. If I wasn't scared, there would be no courage. I would just do the thing. So to feel courage, you must feel fear. And that makes fear a whole lot less scary. Reframe fear as your guide. If you're scared of something, ask yourself why and whether it still aligns with your goals. Lean into the fear, one small step at a time. Consistency beats motivation. Now, this isn't new. You've heard this 1,000 times. I'm sorry to say it is absolutely true because I've experienced it. 2 years ago, I started running to work. And at the time, running to work was 21 kilometers. Now, believe me, I did not set out to create that habit, but it has been hands down the most valuable thing that I have done for myself. And it is more of an embodiment of the endurance mindset than running ultras. In those 2 years, I never once opened that front door and closed it again. Regardless of the weather, the dark, how I was feeling, I always ran. Now, don't get me wrong, I didn't always feel like running. I just did it. Loving the process doesn't mean bounding out of bed every day. Loving the process just means loving yourself enough to value what the process does for you. And that also means loving yourself enough to be tough on yourself to stick to it. So focus on preparation and process, not external validation. Discipline is the foundation for achievements that seem effortless to others. By keeping promises to yourself, you're building confidence and integrity. If you have a powerful why, you can overcome any how. People get really hung up on this one. I think people think that their why has to be really altruistic or transformational, but you don't need to be afraid of labeling your why. Maybe it's mundane, maybe it's silly. You don't have to do it for anyone else. My why might sound really stupid to you, but I honestly don't care. And you shouldn't care what I think about the motivation behind what you do. Discovering and defining your why is all about uncovering the deeper purpose or motivation behind what you do. So ask yourself, what excites me? What gives me energy, even on tough days? Think back to the moments when you felt most fulfilled or proud. What were you doing? Who were you helping? And use these answers to identify your core values. Write down your non-negotiables. These are the principles that guide your decision: growth, connection, creativity. And if you're unsure, think about someone you admire. What values do they embody that resonate with you? Sometimes your why can be hiding in your struggles. What obstacles have shaped you? What do you want to overcome, not just for yourself, but for others? And then start small and go deeper. Finish the sentence, I do what I do because, and then keep peeling back the layers by asking, why is that important to me? And repeat until you uncover your core reason. Knowing that your why isn't fixed, you can revisit it as you gain new experiences. Your why will resonate when it stirs something in your gut or your heart, not just your head. If it feels alive when you say it, you've nailed it. My why? I run to see how far I can go. Not just in distance traveled, but I have found running to be the most powerful vehicle for pushing myself beyond the limits of my potential. And when I recognize that a run is no longer just a run to me, it's enabling me to live beyond any limiting beliefs that I have and what I can achieve, which in turn enables me to live the most fulfilled and empowered life that I can. So write down your core motivations and revisit them regularly. Ask yourself, why is this goal important to me? And what will it mean when I achieve it? So those are the 6 principles of the endurance mindset that you can take action to embed into your life. They enable you to set a purpose or intention. Notice I don't call it a goal. A purpose or intention is a constant reason to keep going, even if the goal wasn't there, or it changes, or it moves out of reach. So if your goal is simply finish a marathon in under 4 hours, and for whatever reason your pace is off, or you have to stop to help someone, or you need the toilet halfway round, that goal is gone. You might as well give up. But if the purpose is to go out there and prove to yourself that you can push yourself to your limit and finish feeling strong, then you will never give up. And who knows what could happen? Make the action towards your purpose achievable. This is why I'm not a fan of things like 75 hard. I'm not sure if you've all heard of 75 hard. 75 hard is 75 days of living like a LinkedIn bore, basically. You get up at 5 a.m, you do 2 workouts a day, you read 10 pages of a book, you go on a diet and you don't drink for 75 days. And it's great if you're looking for social media clout. But for me, it misses the point. Doing it for 75 days, yes, it's probably possible if you don't have a family, you don't really care about other people, or you don't have any responsibilities. But flicking a switch and doing it forever, it's highly unlikely. That's why I advocate for 75 soft, because if an achievement is actionable, it has a chance of becoming a habit. And habits are the key to success. Habits lock in and become automatic, so you don't have to waste time negotiating with yourself about whether you do them or not. When I started running to work 2 years ago, I didn't realize I was about to lock in a habit that was going to change my life. Because that habit, that simple act of getting up every day, putting on my running gear and leaving the house, regardless of the weather, without negotiating with myself, is the best example I've got of the endurance mindset. Habits help you to overcome because you end up doing the thing because you have to do the thing. And you do it in circumstances where you might otherwise have chosen not to. It taught me to overcome, to carry on regardless. And most importantly, I loved it. And that's when I knew I'd nailed it. The endurance mindset is about finding joy in the process. But Claire, how can I adopt and apply the endurance mindset in my hectic and stressful life? Well, let's go back to talking about habits, because habit theory is a critical part of adopting and maintaining the endurance mindset. For something to become a habit, it has to become automatic. And for something to become automatic, it has to be achievable. So don't aim for perfection, aim for average. Habits make doing the thing automatic, but for that to happen, it needs to be realistic, achievable, and consistent. Start with intentionality. Habits don't form randomly, not even the bad ones. So you must know why you're doing it in the first place. Then take small, achievable steps, get out of your own way, remove negotiation, and let habits form more easily because the actions are manageable and don't feel overwhelming. Repetition under similar conditions actually strengthens neural pathways, making the behavior automatic over time. Recognize your distractions. These are often internal triggers, so stress or boredom. You're aiming to get to that point where no negotiation is required and build systems to reduce reliance on willpower. So you plan your actions in advance, time blocking your calendar, or putting your workout clothes out the night before. Then focus on identity, not outcomes. So instead of saying, I want to run 5K, think, I am a person who enjoys running. The habit is becoming part of who you are. It's not a thing that you're forced to do. Celebrating progress reinforces the habit loop with small rewards that create a positive association with the behavior. And over time, that goes from external gratification to intrinsic satisfaction of doing the action itself. And that's when you know you have mastered self-discipline. We are in control of our habits when we align them with our deeper purpose. This makes consistency feel like a choice and not a chore. So going from I have to do this to I get to do this. The endurance mindset isn't about running ultramarathons or hustling 24/7. It's about integrating these habits into your life, big or small, and consistently showing up. It's about reframing discomfort, not just tolerating it, but embracing it as an essential part of growth. And when you make the effort sustainable, it doesn't feel like a grind. It becomes part of who you are. And that's when we get to the point of finding joy in the process. So let's recap. I've told you why, I've told you what, and I've told you how. Here's the big question. What are you going to do next? What are you going to do with this mindset? How will you apply it to your life, your business, your challenges? Now, you don't need to run to work every day, but you can choose your challenge. What will it be? What tough things will you embrace? And how will you allow them to shape you? Because when you start embracing the process, not just the outcome, that's when you'll truly discover what you are capable of. Let's take a minute just to put it into action. These are the 6 steps that you can go through to activate right now the endurance mindset. Set your long-term goal and make sure it has intention. Make the small steps to move toward that goal manageable and achievable. Identify possible distractions and work out ways to remove negotiation. Act like the person you aim to become. Identify the small milestones, decide how to celebrate them, and then start being thankful that you can even try. So let's say that you want to run a half marathon and you've never really run a mile before. So we say make sure that your long-term goal has intention and we tie it to something meaningful. So instead of just I want to run a half marathon, it's I want to prove to myself that I'm capable of achieving something I thought was impossible, improve my fitness, inspire my kids to take on challenges. Break it into manageable steps. Start a couch 5K. Commit to 3 20-minute runs in the first week. Gradually increase the time each week. Then identify your possible distractions and don't negotiate. So if you're feeling I'm too tired to run after work, make sure that you've got a really high tempo playlist or a podcast that you're looking forward to listening to that's going to give a different enjoyable edge to that run. The weather is awful, so embrace the challenge. Invest in the right kit, or use bad weather as a signal to do a strength session or a yoga session. Don't just give up. Or skipping today, that won't hurt. I'll just double up tomorrow. Don't negotiate. Go out for 10 minutes. By the time you're out there, you'll probably find that it's so much easier to keep going once you start. And show up like the person you want to be. So decide who you want to be at the end of this process. Someone who is disciplined, resilient, and proud of their effort. And just start acting like that person would act, as if you've already that person. Set small milestones. So you've completed a first week of training. What are you going to do to treat yourself? You've run your first 5K or your first 30 minutes without stopping. And then be thankful that you can try. So I'm grateful that my body is capable of moving, that I have the time to train, and that I get to experience this journey of growth. Let's flip this momentarily over to business and away from running. So say you're in a small business, and you want to apply the endurance mindset to the growth of that business. So set a long-term goal that's got some meaning. I want my business to provide financial security for my family, create opportunities for others, give me the freedom to work on something that I'm passionate about. Break it down into achievable, manageable steps over the course of a week, a month, a quarter, and a year. And celebrate small wins along the way. Identify distractions and don't negotiate. So if I don't have enough time, block out and create non-negotiable timeframes within your diary. Work on the business, not just in it. You can't afford to invest in all the big tech that you might need or you might want to aim towards using. So start with free or low cost resources, online tools and platforms that as you grow, you can reinvest some of your profit strategically. Your time is your most valuable asset. Or there's too much to do, so I'll work on it tomorrow. Commit to just doing one task, and momentum will continue once you start to build. Act like the business owner you want to be. Show up as that person. What does the successful version of you look like? And embody those traits now. So I want to be a confident, disciplined, and proactive business owner who leads by example. So prioritize your goals, show resilience in setback, and lead with purpose. Success isn't only in the big finish, it's in the progress you make along the way. So celebrate that progress and recognize that that progress is building confidence, keeping the momentum alive. And finally, be grateful for the journey, because gratitude fuels resilience. When challenges arise, remind yourself of what you're thankful for. I'm grateful I get to pursue my dream, that I have the chance to create something meaningful and I can learn and grow from it. With consistency, focus, and gratitude, you'll find yourself reaching milestones you once thought were impossible, just like running that first half marathon. Train your mind to endure with the ultimate goal of falling in love with the process. So a final reminder of the principles of the endurance mindset. Evidence is undeniable proof. Everything is temporary. Get to the next aid station. Courage is not the absence of fear. Consistency beats motivation. And if you have a powerful why, you can overcome anyhow. I want to leave you with this quote from Brad Stolberg. Goals are like mountaintops. They provide definition and direction for our journeys. They are targets, a wellspring of motivation. They keep us focused and prevent aimless wandering. Yet nearly all of our growth, development, and meaning occur not at the point of accomplishment, but during the pursuit. The greatest illusion is thinking that achieving a goal will change your life. What will change your life is who you become in the process of going for it. I encourage you to go out there and live beyond the limits of your potential. Keep me posted on how you do. Thank you for listening to my webinar. I can't wait to see what you do next.